Hello, my name is John Klingen. I'm on the GlassFish server product management team at Oracle, and this screencast will show you how to install and configure the GlassFish Server 3.1 HTTP load balancer. This is an outline of the steps that this screencast will show, including how to download the various components, including GlassFish Server 3.1, the iPlanet Web Server 7, the load balancer plugin. We'll then install and configure, we'll install GlassFish Server 3.1 and create a cluster. We'll follow that with installing the iPlanet Web Server 7 and creating a secure HTTP listener, and you'll find out why we want to do that during this screencast. Next, we'll install the load balancer plugin, and then we'll start up the web server and test the entire configuration along with failover using a simple test application. I thought I'd give you an idea about what this demo setup is going to look like. First, this is all running on a MacBook Pro. That is not a supported configuration, basically running in production. So what I'm going to be doing is actually running most of this inside of a VirtualBox instance. So inside this VirtualBox instance, we'll be running the GlassFish Server 3.1 domain administration server, along with the cluster, which is going to consist of two instances. The iPlanet Web Server administration server, as well as a managed HTTP instance. In a couple of cases, I'll actually be running installers showing the VirtualBox desktop for the load balancer plugin and for installing Web Server 7. But for most of this demonstration, I'll be using the browser on Firefox 4 on the MacBook Pro, as well as iTerm, a shell, basically, terminal that's available for the MacBook, Mac OS X. And the reason I'm doing this is because the screencast software basically allows me to add some nice whiz-bang things if I use native applications. Okay. The first step is to download components, and I think I'll mention here that the major sections are basically divided by these large red screens. So if you want to fast forward or go back to a previous section, just kind of look for this large red screen. This is a quick guide between the sections. Okay, bringing up Firefox, what I'm going to first do is show you how to download the various components. So the first step is to download GlassFish Server itself. And the fast way to get there is to go to www.oracle.com/JavaEE. This is a nice convenience URL to get you to the JavaEE download or hub, and from there we can get to the actual download page. So now we're going to actually click on download and download GlassFish Server itself. And I'm going to download this for Linux. And just because it's a little bit smaller, download the English version. And note that with the Oracle GlassFish Server, you're going to have to accept the Oracle GlassFish Server license, which lets you test out all the features, but it does require an actual license to put this into production. You can always use the GlassFish Server Open Source Edition if a commercial license or relationship with Oracle isn't really the right thing for you at the time. So next thing I'm going to do is download, and I'm just going to download the zip file. So when we install, we're just going to unzip and we'll save the file. Okay, while that's downloading, you can see it downloading here. The next thing I'm going to do is kind of go back to the download page, which I believe is this one. Oh, I need to go back one more. Now on this download page, we can also scroll down to the bottom and you'll see download components right here. And we are going to download the GlassFish Load Balancer Configurator, which is basically the installer for the Load Balancer plugin. And a very similar license. And we'll go ahead and click on that and save the file. Okay, you'll see it's actually started to download the load balancer configurator. Next step, let's download Web Server 7, the Oracle iPlanet Web Server 7. And basically this takes us to the product page at Oracle. And from here we can go to the Oracle iPlanet Web Server. We'll click on the download, scroll down, select the platform, which is going to be the 32-bit. Note that the web server plugin that we have is 32-bit only, so you're going to have to install a 32-bit runtime for your web server. We are working on a 64-bit version, hopefully that someday we'll get out, but for now it's just 32-bit. And again, agree to the license. And this is a tar.gz file. We'll go ahead and download that. And save the file.